good evening. We are coming to you live from Vijay Chowk, right in front of that beautiful old Parliament building. And as the new Parliament gets ready to welcome the 18th Lok Sabha, 90% of the elections in this battle for 2024 Gargi is over. So which is in fact 486 seats.
That's right.
Only 57 seats are left which will go to polls on 1st of June. So very much the battle for 2024 has entered the slogovers. But the focus today will be on Delhi because 7 seats of Delhi have polled and 10 seats of Haryana have polled. Remember, these two states are seen as the bellwether states.
That's right, and today we have our guests here who've come to this beautiful location on a very hot day. We're going to talk first about Delhi. As Maria said, a bellwether state. Last 2 times the Lok Sabha elections, the BJP managed to get 7 on 7. Are they going to manage to do that again? Or will the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress, having come together as an opposition, manage to make a dent? So will there be a hat-trick in the 7 on 7, or will the Aam Aadmi Party and Congress manage to get some seats at least? Also Haryana, the 10 on 10 there as well. Again, there also you see the Aam Aadmi Party and Congress having come together in a sense. So more on that, and let's introduce our panel now who are joining us today. And we have from the Congress, Adil Singh Boparai. We have Ajay Alok of the BJP with us. We have Anmol Pawar of the Aam Aadmi Party. So lots to talk to them about, given the 6th phase just got over and we're looking now forward to the 7th phase and really the finale of this election. Also joining us, as always, Amitabh Tiwari, political strategist, Nishtha Gautam, senior journalist who've been with us through this election, and also great to have with us Kishwar Desai, journalist and author. Today, with the Delhi election, that's going to be the big focus in the first part of this discussion here. And Ajay Alok, how is it looking to you right now? Are you hoping for that hat trick again, 7 on 7, or some worry on the front with the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress having come together?
And I'll just add to that, Gargi, because the overall voter turnout in Delhi is roughly around 54.4%, which is 6% less than the last time. In 2019, it was 60%. So are you worried that there's no enthusiasm on ground, Ajay?
No, there's no question of getting worried. And as you know, that the final figures of the Election Commission was...
Of course, these are provisional data.
It will go up, yes, of course. That too has been a controversy.
We have seen lines and queues relatively very longer. Even today in constituency like New Delhi Parliamentary Constituency, I went to a booth at around 12:30 and I saw, and I was really delighted to see that men and women of all age groups, right from youth to elderly, everywhere were there and waiting for queue to vote. And there was enthusiasm. So I'm pretty sure that we will improve on the voting fee. And as far as Delhi goes, whether it's 7 out of 7, because PAP and Congress combined together, then also they'll come.
Okay, so if we were to look at this number of Delhi, 57% is what the BJP got in 2019. And even if we were to combine the arithmetic numbers, I mean the direct addition of the two numbers that Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress got, you're still 12% less.
Well, Maria, before I respond to your specific question, there's something very important which I need to state for the benefit of your viewers. All of us, notwithstanding our political affiliations, have the highest of respect for the exalted office of the Prime Minister of this country. But today, the kind of phraseology, the kind of pejorative terms, the kind of derogatory terms which has been used by Mr. Modi at a rally in Bihar is condemnable. I think it doesn't behove. It is unbecoming and uncalled for an individual who is the highest executive in this country. I think the BJP needs to introspect. Of course, I think the BJP needs to introspect, and more importantly, I sincerely hope that the Election Commission of India comes out of its coma and takes cognizance of such terms.
Let's put the spotlight on Delhi. Yes.
Now, responding to your question, I think the result is going to be spectacularly in favor of the India alliance, and for a host of factors. I think the chemistry on the ground is visible, point number 1. Point number 2, important issues such as unemployment and inflation have taken center stage. And also the fact that there is an unprecedented act of vendetta on the part of the BJP against the Congress and the opposition, I think seems to have found favor amongst the voters. So we are very, very confident that this is going to be a clean sweep for the alliance.
Anmol, the point here is that if there is a voter turnout 6% less than 2019, Is that also because the India bloc thinks that the BJP is through, that they have crossed the finishing line, and there's, it's why even go out and motivate your voters? You're not able to mobilize your cadre. Is that the reason? Here is a party which is a cadre-based party, so they have all the numbers written. For you or the Congress party, it's a difficult task.
I think the figures are not correct. The voter turnout till 5 p.m. was 58%.
No, we have the numbers. It has just come out from the Election Commission.
And as far as the governance model is concerned, we are very sure that the people of Delhi have decisively supported and voted for Aam Aadmi Party, sending shockwaves to the Bharatiya Janata Party, because they have failed to deliver on all the promises which they have made. The promise of unemployment, the promise of giving employment, they promised to give 2 crores employment per year. The data revealed that last year their own Rajya Sabha MP stated that they are able to give only 1.25 crore employment, and the issue of price rise, inflation and women's safety, their own member of parliament, Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, he was
then you
there
open
were
up
serious
the whole controversy
there were
regarding
serious
what happened.
There were serious allegations against him, and for 2 months
Well, you open up the
Olympic
whole
wrestlers
Swati
were
Maliwal
protesting
issue
at
as well
Jantar
for-
Mantar. Their own member of legislative,
No, but then you have to answer
their
on
own
Swati Maliwal
parliament-
as well. So,
Yeah.
my question then is, I want to understand from you that were you able to make these as talking points on the ground? Because when AAP chief left from the, the jail, his point was that the democracy is in
the whole
khatre.
jail ka jawab,
Yeah.
vote se de.
See,
You
the
think that
fact
had
is,
any resonance?
the fact is, in last 10 years, we have given a model of governance in which people are getting benefits. We have given world-class infrastructure, better healthcare facilities.
Ajay, please
and
respond to that.
Electricity,
Yes.
24
Quick
hour
response, and then I
electricity
bring in
and
the,
water.
other
That
guests.
is why
Yes.
Right
people
on
are
your
supporting us.
Yes.
Right on your show right now,
Yeah.
if you would have listened to Congress spokesperson and Aam Aadmi spokesperson, they both are not taking their names. The alliance is over today itself. He said Congress and
entering
opposition.
Punjab now.
Because
No.
Punjab
He's
is
saying
left
yes,
with
that's what I'm saying. The alliance is over today itself because the voting in Delhi and Haryana is over. He's not taking Aam Aadmi Party's name. He's not taking Congress name. This is the kind of chemistry they share, and they think people of Delhi, a national capital, are fool enough not to believe them. Now, from tomorrow, the abusive language will start. He was preaching the Prime Minister, but before preaching the Prime Minister, please go and look after yourself. What kind of things you are doing and your alliance people are doing.
All
By
right,
calling Mujra, he's calling
Wait,
Prime Minister's name, but whatever the rest of the things, what you have done.
A short interjection after my friend is
One
over.
second, and your response to what Adil Bopara had said earlier regarding the Prime Minister's...
That's what I'm
comments in
saying. He's
Bihar.
quoting Prime Minister that Prime Minister should maintain the dignity of the office. Yes, when the Prime Minister of this country can say that everything belongs to the Muslim first, that's beholding the dignity of the office. And if his Prime Minister is referring to something as the Mujra, he's finding it very obscene and very vulgar. What for? People, you have to communicate to the people in their language.
Okay, so
This
are you
is your
saying
failure.
that people of Bihar?
If you are alien,
No,
if you are alien to this country, you cannot communicate.
Ajay,
That's not my
both
problem.
of us are from Bihar.
Yes.
Are we to believe that that is the right language for communication with the people of Bihar?
Well, in what context he's using that language, that needs to be addressed
Okay, so
first.
that's for another day, because I think the overall discourse in this election,
Let's
any
get
other
the
election,
panelists
has
in
gone
as
down.
well,
Please
yes.
go ahead. Yes.
Nishta Gautam, your comments on this Aam Aadmi Party Congress chemistry, do you think it worked on the ground? Do you think the kind of togetherness we saw? Also, do you think Arvind Kejriwal going to jail had an impact on the electorate?
I said earlier at another show this morning before I went out to vote, Arvind Kejriwal's personal stock took a beating by doing an alliance with the Congress party, because we have to understand the genesis of the party. It came to being by mounting an attack on the Congress party, and they propositioned the voter as the alternate and not becoming part of the same gandagi or daldal. These are the kind of words that were used, right? So when you do those kind of grandstanding gestures and then you get into bed with the same party, it makes the voter flinch a little, and flinch they did. It is all anecdotal. I cannot, give any sort of institutional data on it, but yes, Arvind Kejriwal's personal stock did take a beating.
And
however, Sorry?
And the Congress?
Congress is dead in Delhi. It has
The
been
fact that
dead
they had
for a
to
while.
ally with, 10 plus year party, over 100-year-old party. having
Absolutely,
to
but
ally
it's
like
a
this.
question of survival for the Congress party, so kudos to them. It is a great strategy on their part. The other thing I wanted to say is that when it comes to the candidate selection, I think the coalition has done a very good job by mounting candidates. I mean, talking about my constituency, the Chandni Chowk, Mr. JP Agarwal was fielded against the BJP candidate,
Khandelwal.
Mr. Khandelwal. Nobody probably recognizes him. He did not make a reach out at all.
Okay.
The BJP.
Okay. So as a citizen of Delhi, ma'am, I want to understand from you, why is there a lack of enthusiasm? We talk about urban apathy. It was again visible in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, these metropolitan cities. They talk a lot about, citizens of these cities talk a lot about urban infrastructure, absence of it. But when it comes to the real change, how important is it to go and cast your vote? They don't do
also
it.
In many of the polling
Yes.
booths, what we see is a lot of the elderly coming out, very enthusiastic in the morning, but somehow the youth have not, we've not been able to energize them as much to come out and cast their vote.
Well, firstly, I just want to comment on the overall feeling towards this election, not just in Delhi, but overall. It has been very thanda. I'm a great election follower, both here and in the UK, and I do believe that right from the beginning, it was felt that the outcome was a given. You know, there was a popular kind of a feeling, a belief,
So Charles Sopara actually worked against
they're just going to
BJP.
come back, it is going to be BJP, and this has been a kind of a feeling, no matter who I've been speaking to, that they are going to come back anyway, albeit the numbers might change, the margins might shift a little, and this has been contributing a little bit to this sort of lack of going out there with that passion, because people feel they are going to come back, they've done good work, etc. There is recognition of that. But at the same time, I think what is happening in Delhi, if we look at the events of the last 1 month, I think the average voter here has been the middle class voter now, I will say, because I've been doing these little checks in my own household and things like that, and what I find is that even amongst the people I know who were voting for AAP earlier, this time very clearly they have told me they are confused. They don't know where the party is going this time and what exactly is happening. And I'm talking about the middle class. But the lower income groups, all the people who work in our households, they went to all ends of Delhi to vote for the Aam Aadmi Party. And so let me say that whilst we quote these figures, we still have to analyze which strata voted which was, yes, was it the
and we
middle
talk
class?
about that, that slogan of 400 par and how it was more of a trap for the opposition, because even today they are saying that 250 nahi par hoga. You know, but
They've given
still
up
they are
before
forming
they
a government.
started,
You know,
yes.
so is there
was
a trap in which the opposition clearly fell? It was more of a psychological warfare started by the Prime Minister himself, which had the opposition, perhaps.
let
But
me
also
just
the
add-
way how they...
One last
please.
point I want to say is about the cadres, what you spoke about.
Yes.
That, people were knocking on our doors. I can't tell you the number of messages I was getting from the BJP, coming. Whereas from the Aam Aadmi Party, who has been doing a good job, I would say most of our colony people are happy with them, etc., etc. But there was no outreach.
Perhaps
there was not
in
enough.
assembly then. Amitabh, coming to the numbers and what you have seen overall at the end of the 6th phase, what are your thoughts? What is the number that you are looking at? Because let's not forget that in this particular phase, out of 58, the BJP had much to defend. They were the defenders.
Yeah, so if you look at phase 6, this was the phase when BJP crossed the majority in
Yes.
2019.
They got
It
40
got
out of 58.
278.
Yeah.
278. So
278,
phase
yes.
6 and phase 7 were are very, very important for BJP as well as the opposition, because the Congress had not scored even a single seat in
In
this
this
phase
phase, yes.
in 2019. Now if you come to Delhi, there is no state in India which exhibits such split voting like in Delhi. 100% of the seats to BJP in Lok Sabha,
Yes.
90% of the seats to Aam Aadmi Party in Vidhan Sabha. There is a big swing voter. Aam Aadmi Party gets 18% vote share in Lok Sabha, 54% in Vidhan Sabha. 36% voters who voted for BJP and Congress shift to Aam Aadmi Party in a Vidhan Sabha election. What does this mean? This means that these are not hardcore ideological voter, these are non-aligned neutral voters. And this is the vote block which Aam Aadmi Party is looking at, because these are not ideologically aligned to BJP. These are swinging between parties, and they hope to get some sympathy and then retain this 36% vote which they had received extra in the Vidhan Sabha election, and not let them go back to BJP. The alliance is an alliance of majburi, but Aam Aadmi Party and Congress, whatever votes they have got in a Lok Sabha election, is largely anti-BJP. So the probability of transferring votes to each other is probably high. So that could transfer, but the lead is high.
But we cannot really discount the fact that the BJP went for 90% change in its candidates. I mean, except Manoj Tiwari, you changed all 6. So you certainly understood that there was anti-incumbency. There were that these MPs of yours were unpopular. So that's a gamble that you have played. But whatever said and done, there was an acceptance that they were unpopular MPs.
First of all, there was no acceptance that they were unpopular MPs. Like, we changed 78 MP candidates. That means what? All 78 were unpopular? No. Basically, we do our...
They were not winnable. Let's say it that way.
It's not like that. They were not winnable.
Lekhi, you changed Ramesh Biduri.
Yes. The change of Ramesh Biduri, Meenakshi Lekhi, for that matter, even in Bihar, people like Ashwini Chaubey got changed. He was not unpopular. We are a cadre-based party, and for us, the MP is not important, the Karyakarta is important. Need of new representation, new face, and the new leadership has to be promoted, and this is the Prime Minister's theory. He keeps on promoting, and if there is a rotation, there is no dearth of work in BJP, they'll work for the organization. What's the harm?
No, but the question then is that you went for a generational shift. The likes of Bansuri Swaraj being given a chance to contest. But you have, barring Kanhaiya Kumar, who was a surprise element in this election, you have largely gone with the tried and tested people. There wasn't much of a surprise.
Maria, the BJP is missing the woods for the trees. They've started to believe their own propaganda. That's the problem. Because they control all means of dissemination of information. Today, the issues which matter are issues of bread and butter. Unemployment, price rise, the government's onslaught, the use of agencies. This is irking the people of this country. And Delhi indeed is a microcosm of the country. It has people from across the country. It reflects the diversity of this country. And you'll be surprised, it's a sweep for the India alliance. There is incredible chemistry between the opposition parties.
A lot of our reporters, and Maria, you were on the ground at a polling booth. Many of them came and said, yes, we're disturbed by unemployment, we're disturbed by price rise, etc. But that is a given. That is an issue that is going to happen, and they did not believe a change in government is going to, immediately resolve that issue.
No, I disagree. I disagree.
We need a strong government at the center, and I think this whole thing of the chemistry not working,
all of us,
of the AAP and the Congress, this question of who is going to be the Prime Minister, who is going to, we're in Latin's Delhi, who is going to lead here. That is some of the issues that a lot of Delhi voters especially
I'll just respond to that. I'll just respond to that with a 30-second rebuttal. You remember 2004? I think Ms. Desai would remember 2004. There was unprecedented propaganda. It was made to believe that Mr. Vajpayee is coming to power. There was the silent voter. The Indian voter, don't underestimate his intelligence. He doesn't like arrogance. He does not like arrogance.
India shining, yes, we all remember that. And
it's the arrogance of the BJP which is going to be their nemesis.
You started with 400 par, but then, when the elections, once they began, then we saw a lot of pivoting to different issues. The Prime Minister bringing up this wealth redistribution, bringing up the inheritance tax, a lot of pivoting because the development or the various achievements of the government you found were not cutting it. So you had to go back to that tried and tested. We heard a lot more about Ayodhya, Ram Temple, went to Mangal Sutra, now this latest, whatever has been said in Bihar. So a lot of pivoting, not just resting on the laurels or the achievements of 10 years of Modi government should have been able to talk about.
See, there's only one tried and tested, and that is the Prime Minister by this country for the last 10 years. First of all, as far as going tried and tested. Secondly, I would like to correct you. We didn't bring up this inheritance tax. It was there in their manifesto. We didn't bring up this empowerment of personal law board. It was there in their manifesto. It's not our weaving up. We have to tell people, as a responsible opposition to Congress, we have to tell people this is what their intention and what they have been doing for the last 75 years. Now, second thing, my Congress friend said the use of agency irks the people of this country. I don't understand. Please go and check with the people of this country. Please go and check that if agency acts on a minister or an MP, Congress MP, and agency finds 350 crores of stacks of cash, Does this irks the people of this country?
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
Do
think we should bring
the
in,
Congress think that the people of this
Mahua
country
Maji
support?
here. We're also joined by Mahua
can I just
Maji,
respond?
Member of Parliament of the JMM with us, and we're talking about what irks the people and whether
Yes.
the fact that leaders are being imprisoned is something that disturbs people, and of course a setback to your party with Hemant Soren not being given that bail. So your comments on that, ma'am?
एक्चुअली भाजपा ने जो सोचकर हमारे युवा लोकप्रिय मुख्यमंत्री को इस तरह का साजिश का शिकार बनाया, उसका उल्टा इफेक्ट यहाँ पे हुआ है। लोगों में अंडर करंट है, और जिस तरह से लोग स्वतःस्फूर्त तरीके से निकलकर महारैलियों में शामिल हो रहे हैं अपने प्रिय नेता के लिए, और वो वोट में कन्वर्ट हो रहा है। आप देखेंगे कि बहुत जल्द यहाँ का रिजल्ट बिल्कुल अलग होगा, जैसा कि प्रेडिक्ट किया गया था। और मुझे लगता है पिछली बार यहाँ झारखंड 14 सीटों में से 12 सीट यहाँ से ले चुकी थी, बट इस बार रिजल्ट बिल्कुल इसके उलट हो सकता है। अंडर करंट है इसके अपने प्रिय।
लेकिन महुआ जी, सवाल ये भी है कि जो एक इंडिया ब्लॉक का कोऑर्डिनेटेड प्रोग्राम नहीं दिख रहा है जमीन पर। वहां ये कहा जा रहा है कि कांग्रेस अपना चुनाव लड़ रही है, आरजेडी अपना चुनाव लड़ रही है, और जो जेएमएम है वो अपने तरफ से लड़ रहे हैं। तो ये जो कोऑर्डिनेशन है वो मिसिंग क्यों है जमीन पर?
देखिए, इसे आप पूरी तरह से सही नहीं कह सकते हैं, क्योंकि लगातार आपने देखा होगा कि आपके अरविंद केजरीवाल जी आए, सुनीता जी 2 बार आई, फिर ये संजय सिंह जी आए, खड़गे जी आए, राहुल जी आए, फिर प्रियंका गांधी जी आए।
लेकिन आम आदमी पार्टी वहाँ पे फैक्टर नहीं है जी।
ये फैक्टर नहीं है, लेकिन
फैक्टर तो वहाँ पे आप लोग है ना, जेएमएम और हाँ।
देखिए, जेएमएम कांग्रेस और राजद की सरकार है, और तेजस्वी यादव जी लगातार यहाँ कई जगह पे आए हैं, और वो लगातार यहाँ उनके पैर में चोट लगने के बावजूद वो लगातार यहाँ के कार्यक्रमों में आते रहे हैं। और यहाँ हमारे हेमंत सोरेन जी की तरफ से, हमारे पार्टी की तरफ से
मैं अमिताभ तिवारी से पूछूंगी। अमिताभ तिवारी, झारखंड एज अ स्टेट, particularly given the fact that there was an application for bail for Hemant Soren, it was dismissed by the Supreme Court. So he had, of course, given the argument of the precedent which has been said by the Delhi Chief Minister. But looking at Jharkhand as a state, in the sense that can there be surprises from what has happened in 2019? A brief discussion on that, and then we move on.
See, largely again, people are voting very differently in a Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha election. The sympathy which might have been generated for Hemant Soren, we could see a big impact of that in 6 months down the line when the Vidhan Sabha election is there, because the election is not for the selection of a CM but for the PM. Slight here and there tally could happen because BJP had won 12 and Congress JMM had won 2. Just one line on Bopara ji said about the 2004 verdict, just to set the context.
Yes.
In 1999, when BJP had won 182 seats, the average margin was 9%. So it's a close context because of only a 5% swing is required. In 2019, the average margin is 20% plus. So that's the difference between 2019 and a 1999 mandate. It could still move away, but the gap has moved much higher.
And there are no signs to show otherwise. At the moment, Adil, there are no signs.
Well, I disagree.
Signs.
We see the signs. It depends on which glasses you're wearing. We've seen the signs, and especially Delhi and Haryana. You can imagine BJP. I'll give you an example of Haryana. BJP leaders are not being allowed to enter the villages.
Well,
this is the state of affairs.
Given the sort of,
this is the state of affairs. Look at the hollowness of the Prime Minister's slogan of Nari Shakti when you have a Brij Bhushan Singh who's being shielded. Just see the irony. You think this is lost on the people of this country? See the paradox. And lastly, again, let me highlight on this fact. The arrogance of the BJP is palpable. They believe that they're God's gift to mankind. And the voter of this country is going to give them a resounding answer.
So Nishtha Gautam, what would you say to that? We talk a lot in our TV studios about, Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh or Swati Maliwal and what has happened there and how she may or may not have been beaten and chucked out of the Chief Minister's residence. But how much does this really affect the voter? How much does it affect the people and the women voters? How do you feel it impacts?
We were just, Kishwarji and I were just discussing this backstage that, it should be a huge issue, particularly for the women voters who are going on asserting themselves, right? And they're not voting along the family lines anymore. Unfortunately, it is not an issue And it is really unfortunate for somebody like me, who has devoted her academic life and the entire career for gender equality advocacy. It is really, really disheartening. The only instance of this becoming an issue, the women thing becoming an issue, is Sandesh Khali, but it is not women's issue. It is a communal issue. It is a Hindu-Muslim issue, which has kind of precipitated the already brewing communal tensions in the state.
Already a quick comment from you, Krishna. Yes, go ahead.
I do believe, I slightly disagree, because I think it is impacting the voter, especially, as I said, the events of the last 1 month, and to do with Swati Mahewal in particular, because I think it just took everyone aback, because we had all been part of that whole Nirbhaya protest and, anti-corruption and so many issues, and gender equality, which we had very high hopes. So I think that is something which is impacting the woman voter and the generally gender-aware voter, who could be the young voter, whom we were trying to get to, that why are those people, they may not coming out, they are not coming out, but because they don't have an alternative. Basically, what is happening is the lack of an alternative, and the major point, I completely agree, is this is all about Mr. Modi. This election is a presidential election, maybe without an opponent on the other side, which just one person standing. It may be a referendum, whatever you want to call it, but it is about him. So honestly speaking, they can bring young people in, as they have Bansuri Swaraj, whose mom I knew very well, but I know nothing about Bansuri. She just came the other day and I saw her for the first time. So, but because of Mr. Modi, and that is all they talk about. It's his achievement.
Quick comment from Anmol Pawar, and he's been waiting. Yes.
This election is between people of this country and BJP. There's a significant shift in the public sentiment this time, because the fundamental issues like education, healthcare, unemployment, price rise, inflation, they have not been addressed by the present central government in last 10 years. They promised Pakka House by 2022. They promised 100 smart cities by 2022. They promised to give tap water supply to all the households in villages by 2022. They promised that every household will have LPG connection by 2022. They promised that everyone will have job security. But none of the issues have been addressed. That is why these issues will keep on influencing the political discourse till the time they are addressed. And it is the only the Delhi government and the Punjab government which have fulfilled their constitutional obligation. These are basic fundamental rights enshrined in the constitution.
Is the charge that is coming.
Yeah. The 4 crore houses what we made for the people, and it's registered in the name of women. We have not made anything.
They have not answered. He was saying that the investigating agencies are working independently. Then why is it that their own leader, who labelled the 25 most corrupt politicians, they were absorbed in Bharatiya Janata Party? Why no action against them? And some are
quickly from Ajay, and then I bring in others.
They will keep on. They don't have anything in the issue right now. How they are going to run the country? How they are going to do the
finance
development?
minister admitted in an interview. The finance minister admitted in an interview.
Let's extend the courtesy. Yes.
We have already constructed 4 crore houses, and that too is registered in the name of women. And they think that we have not done anything.
Sir, those are
Nal Jal Yojana is already there, already working everywhere in the country. He doesn't know about anything. The medical seats, anything. Construction of highway, increasing of medical seats, increasing of AIMS, increase of IMA. Name a thing, and we have done it in 10 years. We are only interested in our scale and acceleration. What is Modi? Modi is nothing, but he's just scale and acceleration. The kind of work we have done in last 10 years, Congress and its allies have not been able to do in the last 70 years. And one thing more. 2004 verdict was not a Congress victory, what he's claiming. Congress got just 145, we were 138. It was courtesy communist who talks of finishing down the atomic weapons.
If we were to look at the women voters, I think we should put the spotlight on the women voters, because here we have equal distribution of men and women right now. So that's why we put the spotlight on women. Women 66.7% overall in terms of how they have voted, and women and men 67%. So there is 1% difference. And in comparison to 2019, there are almost like 13 states where women voters outnumbered men. So these are signs of women, because state after state we have seen women as a constituency are far more futuristic. they look at multiple issues before they come out to cast their vote. And they are the deciding factor in these elections.
Yeah, so phase 5 has a higher women turnout than men.
Yes.
Yes.
12 to 13 states, including some big ones like Bihar, have a higher women population
Women
or
population, that's right.
voter base than men. So women have different issues. Their issues are entirely different from men.
So then in that case, their issues would be similar to what the opposition is saying. Mehengai and berozgari.
Could be. Those issues could be their issues. However, the issue is also that who is going to solve those issues?
That's right.
Is Prime Minister Modi going to solve it? Is the opposition going to solve it? Because when Prime Minister Modi came to the national scene, he had a Gujarat model of development to fall back on. That could be debated, but he had a model. Today, the opposition model, there is no united model. AAP has a model of 2 states. Bengal, Mamata has a model. Congress party finding a model in perhaps Karnataka or Telangana. But the same promises are not replicated at the national level. You are giving 23.
Yes, your response to that, and there are a lot of criticisms as you're talking about.
I have a preliminary statement to make. There are 4 empowered women on this panel, 4 women who are icons in their respective field. Isn't each one of you disturbed that Prajwal Ravanna continues to evade the process of law? That the government of India has not cancelled his passport? Does it not perturb you? Does it not perturb you, Ms. Gautam? Of course. So is this not an issue when you go and press the ballot? I think it should be an issue. In the minds of every prudent person, unless and until you've been completely, the real issues have been completely sidestepped. Every person who has an interest in the future of this country, who believes in the rule of law, for him or her, Prajwal Ravanna evading the process of law, the BJP not taking appropriate steps to cancel his passport should potentially disturb them. Number two, just a moment, Ajay Saab, just a moment. Number 2, please understand the BJP's campaign model today. It is just over-reliance and exaggeration on Mr. Modi. By just repeating Mr. Modi's name 24/7, 365 days a year is not sufficient.
But
at the end of the day.
You've not been able to counter it. You've
No,
not been
of
able
course
to
we've been able to counter it.
because-
I disagree.
And look at the pivoting that they've done when they started with 400 par and then picked up various points
That's
from your
bluster.
manifesto.
Tomorrow
or
I'll say
points from what
543.
Rahul Gandhi said
Nobody
and then
fell
talked
for that bluster.
Nobody fell for that bluster.
And they
I'll respond to
continually-
that question.
They continually changed. Every phase we saw, a little bit of a
Can I
change come
respond?
about, but
I haven't completed.
whereas the India
You
bloc
only
has not been
completed,
able
sir.
to,
30
counter
seconds,
it.
Ajay Saab. 30 seconds. Please understand, the Congress comes with a Nyaya Patra. The Congress has a manifesto for the people of this country. The BJP all day long talks about Mr. Modi, Mr. Modi, Mr. Modi. It is not about Mr. Modi, for heaven's
but
sake.
no, but
It is
Adil,
about
it definitely
1.4 billion
translates on the
Indians.
ground.
It is about this gentleman standing here.
Okay.
It is about education for his
Ajay,
children,
the point
healthcare
here
for
is,
his children.
I want to understand, if you are saying Congress has come with a Nyaya Patra, what about India bloc? Does it have a Nyaya Patra? Is the Nyaya Patra of the Congress also of the Aam Aadmi Party, also of the TMC, also of RJD? No, it is not.
I will
I
just say one
disagree.
thing.
That's a wrong
Aap has 10
hypothesis.
guarantees.
They have
Aap
come
has
up
10
with
guarantees.
Let
exactly.
the Aam Aadmi Party
I have
represent
just-
respond to that.
India alliance.
There is no common minimum program.
See, it is the collective will and aspirations of the people due to which. This
Why is it
India,
not
this-
reflecting
due
in
to
something
which the
concrete,
India
like a
alliance-
manifesto?
Due to which India Alliance was formed.
Yes.
As part of India Alliance, we have promised 10 guarantees to the people of this country. That first we will
No,
provide.
that's your guarantees, not Congress Party.
There is
But
ideological
we are
conformity,
working-
conformity in manifesto, ideological conformity in ideas and
working-
vision.
Okay, so there is ideological conformity also.
Of course, for women,
you
for
think
farmers,
working
for
collectively
young
for the
people.
betterment of nation.
No,
Maharashtra.
You guys are more happy and more interested in discussing confusion.
No,
But you are
there
not
is no
happy
confusion.
you are not happy.
Let's ask the-
No, you are not happy in discussing credibility.
Ajay,
You are
first,
interested
Ajay.
You are not
in
interested in discussing
Jumlebazi.
credibility.
Go ahead.
You are
Here is
interested
only
in
one thing
discussing
which is common.
Jumlebazi.
I agree that they have different models. West Bengal, TMC model, AAP model, Congress model, different kind of models, Stalin model, anti-Sanatan.
India model.
What they have common?
Brij-Bhushan
It's
model.
corruption.
What about
What they
Brij-Bhushan
have
model?
common?
What
It's
about
corruption.
Manipur model?
All the people out
What
here
about
on bail.
Bhagunta
Why?
Reddy's model?
Why they are out on bail?
What about
why we are
Prajwal
finding
Ravana's model?
so much cash from TMC, Congress, JMM? Why we are
Well, the
finding this?
counter to that is many of the leaders who've joined you are no longer.
No, he will not answer that. He will never answer this
That's
question.
not the counter.
He will run
That's
away
not
from
the counter.
answering this
That's the
question.
counter.
I'm telling you,
Opposition
And you are
I'm
getting
telling you,
exposed every
from
time you are
2009
not
to
answering
14.
this
Mr.
question.
Suvendu Adhikari,
2009
come on,
to 14.
we talk about that.
2009 to
So
14.
the finance
So
minister
Jawad
admitted,
Begum,
finance
If I
minister
can answer.
admitted in NDTV
Ajit Pawar,
that all the
Ajit
nation
Pawar.
leaders are allowed to
Can
join
I
BJP.
answer? Allow me to
It is
answer.
the finance
defending
minister
the
who
indefensible,
admitted
that
in
is
the
an
I'm not able to hear you. She's shouting in my ear.
that
years,
all
you
the
know.
tainted leaders
I
are
can't
allowed
hear
in
you.
BJP.
Yes, I'm asking
Okay,
him that
The
question.
investigation is pending.
I'm coming up with
ED and
everything.
CBI not taking action.
Yes,
Let me answer.
Ajay.
Simple logic. 2009 to 14, we were in opposition, right? We used to raise questions in this parliament about 2G, 3G, GIG, everything. None of our demands were met. We were shown the door because we were in opposition. What we did? We went to the court, we submitted the proof, and the CBI inquiry was ordered. And they got some. Now today, if they say that we have taken Praful Patel, we have taken this, first of all, they mentioned about Hemant Vishwa Sharma. Hemant Vishwa Sharma, when he came to Delhi, he challenged Arvind Kejriwal, you speak one more and you show me, otherwise I'm going to take you to the court. Hemant Vishwa Sharma is not even named in an FIR.
Ashok Chavan.
Ashok Chauhan is there. The cases are going on. Are we playing with the cases? Are we playing with the cases?
He's a Rajya
The
Sabha
judicial process of this country.
It's a long list.
There's a very long
I need to come in here. I need to come in.
Political alliance.
Just 1 minute.
When the leader is of the opposite party, then
Political
even
alliance
before
are
trial,
different.
they will prove him
alliance.
guilty.
It's one
And if he is of the
versus two.
BJP,
As far as
political-
politicians are
political-
concerned,
then
and
give him
more-
Rajya
Let him
Sabha.
speak. Please.
Political-
Let him speak.
Political alliance is
Yes.
different and judicial process is different. If somebody is accused of corruption and the cases are going on, we can be accused only if we help that person. If we delay the process,
But yes.
or if we absolve him from the charges. No, we have not done
the
it.
case on the back burner,
We have known.
and the entire process goes slow,
If-
then the questions are
if
being
you
raised.
think so,
you know, Ajay.
Come on,
in
come on,
Maharashtra,
If you
in
think so
particular-
that we have made the process slow,
In
or the opposition
Maharashtra in
thinks so,
particular-
when they can go to the Supreme Court stating that please don't allow,
Why
please
must
ask the
everything
government
go
not
to
to
the
use
Supreme
ED and
Court?
CBI
Okay,
against us.
anyway,
They
we are
cannot
not-
go to Supreme
one
Court.
minute.
Who's
Who's
stopping them?
This is not for
Who's
us to
stopping
argue
it? This
here.
is not the
Can we-
job.
can we
Point is
maintain-
here is very clear. They have
can
only
I
one
respond?
thing in
Let him
common.
finish.
The model is only one thing in common, that is corruption. The second model
Very
is
well,
common.
let me
We
respond.
have to save our skin. Don't let Modi
No, but
come.
you
The
have done
fear
too
of
much of
Modi.
jod-tod ki
And
rajniti.
secondly,
When I was
Modi,
in
Modi,
Maharashtra,
Modi, he
one
said we
moment,
keep
Ajay.
on doing Modi, Modi.
Ajay, when I
have
was
a
in
leader.
Maharashtra,
You don't have a
that
leader. That's your
entire
problem.
Nashik
I have a leader. The country has a leader.
People were talking about people were talking about how the BJP today, they do not have faith. They are not sure that if they vote for a particular candidate, which side he or she will switch. You have done too much of jod-tod in Maharashtra. That's why people are
Creating
confused
confusion.
and analysts are also confused. Which way is Maharashtra going?
Can I
Yes.
respond
there's not-
without
yes,
interruption?
go ahead.
The BJP between 2009 and 14 was shouting from the rooftops talking about 2G. 2G is an acquittal. 2G is an acquittal by a court of law. Either you say we don't believe in that judgment. That was a propagandist. Vinod Rai is a propagandist. I have no compunction in saying that.
And nobody is arguing about the propaganda. We're asking about
no, please
your
understand. 2G was a
managing
lie.
your campaign,
Ajay ji
yes.
spoke
You
about
couldn't
2G.
counter it.
2G was a lie. 2G was a lie. Number two, none other but the Prime Minister of this country and the Home Minister of this country called Ajit Pawar and Ashok Chavan corrupt. They threatened to put him in jail. They promised the voters that they'll put them in jail. Today they are ministers and Rajya Sabha MPs from their party. Is this not hypocrisy? Is this not jod-tod? Is this not satta ka lalach?
This is something we talk a lot about.
This is satta ka lalach.
In our shows,
The lust
etc.,
for
but
power.
Is
does
it
this
difficult
translate on the
for
ground
BJP
again?
to defend that?
No, it cannot defend.
It's
So if-
indefensible, but
yes.
how much does the electorate care? How much have they managed to,
Yes,
bring
make
this
that a
out to
talking
the
point.
electorate?
See, when we
And
talk
there is
that,
the votes.
when we talk about the fact that the Aam Aadmi Party has also lost its luster of or image of party with a difference, that has also happened to BJP. Because now Ajay Alok ji is himself admitting that we have, or rather the BJP has admitted a person who is an accused. So how is that case different from Aam Aadmi Party or Kejriwal's case? He is also an accused. He has not been convicted yet. Correct. So this party with a difference image has taken a beating, and this is what perhaps has led to lower turnouts in earlier phases, because the neutral voter which has been supporting the BJP seems to have been impacted by all this jod-tod, admitting people against whom there were ED raids, CBI raids, and you admit that person to the party. So that's a cause of concern for the BJP also, because it could also lead to a cultural difficulty for the BJP, because you have a lot of outsiders. 25% of the tickets given to candidates are of outsiders.
Yes.
And most of them are
outside parties.
erstwhile Congress leaders. Yes, we have just enough time, Gargi, for comments from the two women on the panel. Please go ahead.
Right. So, as Amitabh just said it very succinctly, that the BJP definitely has, it has suffered a loss of face when it comes to, being a party with a difference. that has also led to the lowering of the tone of political discourse, because BJP is not a party that leaves everything, they like to manage everything. They like to micromanage, like booth level tak ka jo micromanagement hai. And kudos to the party, because that's how a political party should function, right? You are there to win the election. So I do not begrudge them winning any election or winning the panchayat elections. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. But what you do with that win, I think that's something that the voters are beginning to question. And they will continue to question. But here comes the Prime Minister, the biggest campaigner for the Bharatiya Janata Party, biggest issue during this election, and the BJP and the Prime Minister, they are not leaving any stone unturned, and which is why we see these absolutely bizarre statements every once in a while.
And that's why these pivots, and suddenly these new issues are brought in, and you have the Prime Minister talking about should Rahul or Akhilesh come to power, the Ram Mandir,
very clever. As a writer, I have to say that it's very clever to do that, because then the debate just follows you.
Absolutely.
Everybody is following you. Change the subject and suddenly everybody is running after that. Then you change the subject and suddenly. So you remain the center of the debate, which is very important for the prime candidates to be in that situation. But I also want to say this is politics. What are we talking about? There are no permanent friends and no permanent enemies in politics. We all know this.
I mean, Congress and AAP are together.
This has been going on since centuries. It's nothing new. You have strange bedfellows in politics. So let's not be naive about this. This is you come together for a certain purpose. But as an empowered woman, I just want to go back a few years when Prime Minister Modi first came. Why did the women's vote shift towards him? He stood on the ramparts of the Red Fort and he spoke about toilets. Later on, we heard about sanitary napkins. We heard about subjects that were completely taboo. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, this, that. He took things which, so when you talk about mehengai and employment affecting women, I would say it is these. It was chula, it was that gas, it was those kind of home truths that he spoke to the women that made their lives, made a big change to their lives, and for the young women.
Because it became about, as we have been saying in the context of Uttar Pradesh, Shasan in or law and order in towns, and ration in the
exactly.
in the
and
kitchen,
this is tangible. This is not like something मैं आपको 1000 नौकरियां दूंगा. Who knows?
We're talking about wrap up this Bharat 2047. Yes, but we're going to have to just leave it there. We're completely out of time. But thank you all for coming out here in the heat and in this lovely, location as well. And we're going to slip into a short break. But more on the other side.
We'll be joined by Naveen Jindal, who is the BJP candidate from Kurukshetra. He'll be giving us a picture of Haryana and also a BJD leader from the state of Odisha. So stay with us. Welcome back. We are coming to you live from the Lutyens, Delhi, right in front of the power corridors of India. 90% of the elections are over. And in this battle for 2024, there are several Congress leaders who switched to the BJP and were fielded by the BJP. One of them is joining us live, Naveen Jindal, BJP candidate from Kurukshetra. Mr. Jindal, really appreciate your time. Kurukshetra has polled your state, which is Haryana, is seen as a bellwether state. Overall, how has the battle for Kurukshetra been and also of Haryana?
So it's looking good, and but you can never tell. So you can only tell when the results come out. But from whatever experience that I have, it's looking very good. And you're right. Last 40 years, what we've seen is whichever party has a majority in Haryana also forms the government at the center. So that might just be a coincidence, but that's been happening for last many decades.
All right, but just a few weeks before, the elections, you had a change in the chief minister in Haryana. In fact, the JJP and Congress say that it's a minority government there. Do you think this will impact this election, or do you think this will have more of an impact later when the assembly elections take place in Haryana?
I think it's stable, and whatever changes that the party, the BJP made in Haryana. I think all those also helped. Like it tremendously helped me that Mr. Nair Feni was the member of parliament from Kurukshetra, and he becoming chief minister tremendously helped me. So it helped me to get more support from the people, because people are very happy with this change. He becoming the MP is now the chief minister. So that I think it worked out well. But finally, you'll see when the results come out.
Yes, you were fielded immediately within hours. Your name featured in that BJP list that came out as a candidate from Kurukshetra. But, looking back, do you actually look at this transition not at the right time, perhaps? Because the Congress is certainly on the rise in Haryana. Could you have waited a little more and seen how the events would have panned out?
People in Haryana, people in my constituency, they were, I would say 90% of them, they were very happy that I made that change. And and I got tremendous support from everyone in the BJP, from their top leadership, from all the workers, from all the office bearers of BJP. So I got tremendous support. Yes, you're right. Congress has, now people actually, a lot of people are talking about Congress in Haryana, but in Kurukshetra, it was, people, I would say more than 50-60% of the Congress workers also, they were supporting me, because I have worked here, and Haryana is a small state, and people really value the person also, the credibility of the person. So since people know me here, we have very good relations with people. So I'm very fortunate that I got a lot of support from everyone.
All right. Well, just one more phase of this election to go. So a bit of an unfair question, but your assessment of India and Haryana on June 4th?
Okay, so Haryana, I see that, there'll be a overwhelming majority of BJP in Haryana, and also in the center. I'm no expert. I've just been mostly busy with my elections over here, so I can't really say, but it should be very good, because there's a lot of people who make a lot of noise, but ultimately, when people go down to vote, they do vote, and they do make very careful considerations, and do the right thing. So I think BJP is going to have is going to come out with something majority in its third term, and we're going to see Mr. Modi again as our Prime Minister.
All right, Mr. Jindal, thank you so much for speaking to NDTV. We hope to connect with you on 4th of June when the results come out.
See whether your assessment was correct, yes.
Shifting focus to Odisha now. Remember, there is an interesting battle playing out because it's simultaneous elections which is happening of the Assembly and also of the Lok Sabha. Sujit Kumar, who's a BJD MP, is joining us. Sujit Kumar, my question is that there was this narrative of the BJP that Mr. Pandyan, who is being seen as the successor of Naveen Patnaik, is an outsider. Have you managed to counter that on the ground, or is this more of an outsider narrative that the BJP has managed to drill and ensure that it gets some kind of vote based on that narrative?
Well, let me first of all clarify that neither Mr. Naveen Patnaik nor Biju Janata Dal Party has anointed Mr. V.K. Pandyan as the successor of Naveen Patnaik. That is speculation by media and by vested interests. In fact, Naveen Patnaik has time and again said that the people of Odisha would choose his successor. So let me clarify that at the outset. Secondly, BJP is certainly trying hard to sell the narrative that that Mr. Pandyan is an outsider and people of Odisha will not accept him. But people of Odisha very well know who is working for the betterment of the state, who is working for the interest of the people of Odisha. They have seen Navin Patnaik being their leader for last 24 years and the kind of good work he has done. So time and again they have blessed him, and the kind of growth, the kind of development that Odisha has witnessed is unprecedented. So today it is one of the better states, in fact one of the top 10 states in most of the socio-economic indicators. So people of Odisha certainly are unwilling to buy this narrative of BJP, which is trying hard to make it an outsider versus insider battle. And it is rather ironic that a party which claims to be a nationalist party, which claims to talk for the entire country, is harping on this outsider insider narrative in the elections. It is rather unfortunate.
All right, what was also interesting was just, a few weeks before the elections, it seemed BJD and BJP were in talks, and even the Congress now still claims that it's something of a fixed match in the state. There's an understanding, BJP at the center, Mr. Modi at the center, and Navin Patnaik in the state.
Well, nothing could be farther from the truth. I do not know what is the basis for the Congress party to make this claim, but Congress party has been rejected by people across the country, and even in Odisha they are in a very pathetic state. So I do not wish to give a lot of credence to what they have said, but if you see the kind of battle that is being fought is really intense. It's vicious. So BJP and BJD are certainly not in any alliance, whether implicit or explicit, and we are fighting to form the government for the 6th consecutive term and to win more than 2/3 of the Lok Sabha seats. So certainly we have no deals with BJP whatsoever. Let me clarify this. Certainly we do not have any deal whatsoever, and we will form the government with 3/4 majority in Odisha for the 6th consecutive term and also win most of the Lok Sabha seats.
Okay, so let's see how it actually plays out. But Sujit Kumar, my last question to you, in fact, our last question to you. Campaigning, the kind of nature of campaigning, the belligerence which has been shown by the BJP, the Prime Minister himself leading the campaign and leveling that charge of corruption against, Navin Patnaik government, it was really not seen in the past. It's a very high-pitched campaign which has been mounted by the BJP. Were you worried? I mean, have you been worried about it?
People are already convinced. I have the highest regards for our Honorable Prime Minister, and I feel that some of the comments he made were rather uncharitable and rather unfair. Well, in a democracy, every political party, every political leader has the right to air her or his views, and there should be healthy debate, healthy criticism. We are all for constructive criticism by the opposition parties, but sometimes it seems that in the heat of the political campaign, in the heat of the moment, rather unfair criticism is being leveled, particularly against the health, about the health of Honorable Chief Minister, against Mr. Pandian in many ways. So all I would request is that there should be grace, there should be decency in the public discourse, and people of Odisha, as I said, they are very smart. They do recognize what is good for the state, what is good for them, and who is going to stand behind them for the entire 5 years, and who is going to come doing elections and then make some statements and then go back. So I don't think that much should be read into what Honorable Prime Minister said. I think both the Chief Minister and Honorable Prime Minister have the highest regards for each other. I think and it goes back to the time when they were both Chief Ministers. So I would not read much into it. People of Odisha have already made up their mind to vote for Navin Patnaik.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Sujit Kumar, for joining us on the program. We're completely out of time now. Thank you so much for being with us. And that brings us to the end of this program. It's the 6th phase is now over. It's really the last, leg of this election. Now we'll be counting down to the 7th phase.
And 58 seats that go to polls in the 7th phase. There are several interesting battles playing out even then. But the biggest battle of all is Varanasi, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself is contesting for the third term. For the BJP, it's certainly about the margin. But entire focus now shifts to Kashi. From Gargi and me, it's a special thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for watching and goodbye.